Analysis on the escalating tensions in the South China Sea. Recent events involving the United States, Japan, and France have stirred global concerns as they intersect with China's territorial claims in this strategic waterway. The South China Sea, a critical maritime passage, has been a focal point of geopolitical tensions due to overlapping territorial claims and strategic interests. However, recent developments have intensified the situation, leading to heightened concerns about potential conflict. We'll delve into the actions taken by the US, Japan, and France, examining their impact on regional dynamics, global alliances, and the implications for international law. The United States has increased its presence in the South China Sea, conducting freedom of navigation operations and bolstering alliances with regional partners. The deployment of naval assets and strategic partnerships with countries like Japan and France signifies a concerted effort to counter China's growing influence. Japan has expressed concerns over China's expansive claims in the South China Sea, strengthening ties with the US and participating in joint military exercises. Japan aims to protect its interests while contributing to regional stability. France, a distant but significant player, has also entered the fray, conducting naval patrols and advocating for multilateralism. France underscores the importance of upholding international norms and ensuring freedom of navigation in the region. The intensification of activities by the US, Japan, and France has raised questions about the long-term consequences and potential for conflict escalation. Will these actions lead to a resolution or further exacerbate tensions in the South China Sea? What is the South China Sea dispute? The South China Sea dispute involves conflicting island and maritime claims in the region by several sovereign states, including the People's Republic of China, Taiwan, Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. The dispute primarily revolves around the control of waters around the islands and the exploitation of their natural resources. Key aspects of the dispute include China's claims. China claims the largest portion of territory in the South China Sea based on its so-called Nine-Dash Line. It's built military and industrial outposts on artificial islands in disputed waters and has conducted naval maneuvers and exercises in the area. Competing claims. Other countries, such as the Philippines, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei, have also staked claims on islands and various zones in the sea, like the Paracels and the Spratlys. International law. The United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS, governs maritime disputes. The U.S. supports the claimant country's right to freedom of navigation through exclusive economic zones, or EEZs, in the sea, while China maintains that foreign militaries are not allowed to conduct intelligence-gathering activities, such as reconnaissance flights, in its EEZ. U.S. and Japanese involvement. The U.S. does not take sides in territorial disputes, but has sent military ships and planes near disputed islands in freedom of navigation operations. Japan, which has no direct stake in the South China Sea, provides ships and military equipment to claimants like Vietnam and the Philippines. Japan led an annual multinational naval exercise that includes the Philippines as an observer for the first time, as Filipino Coast Guard vessels are increasingly harassed by China in the disputed South China Sea. The annual X exercises that began Saturday off Japan's coast also include the United States, Australia, and Canada. Their aim is to demonstrate and increase ways the navies can work together and show their presence and commitment to defend a free and open Indo-Pacific, which the Allies say is hampered by China's growing ambitions that include sweeping territorial claims. On Saturday, a selected group of journalists, including the Associated Press, flew on a V-22 Osprey aircraft to the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier to observe takeoffs and landings of F-35C Lightning stealth fighters, as well as F/A-18 Super Hornet jets and EA-18 Growlers. The Japanese destroyer Hyuga showed its presence next to the carrier. The Philippines accused a Chinese Coast Guard ship and accompanying vessels of dangerous maneuvers and blasting a Philippine supply ship with a water cannon, while China defended its action as appropriate. Thomas said the U.S. Navy deploys 2 aircraft carriers, the USS Carl Vinson and the USS Ronald Reagan, in the Pacific, despite unfortunate situations happening in other parts of the world. Japan and the United States have stepped up defense cooperation and also expanded it to include Australia and the Philippines. The allies share concern about China's growing assertiveness and tensions over self-ruled Taiwan, which China claims as its own to be united by force if necessary. China deployed a reconnaissance aircraft over Pacific waters east of Taiwan last week that Chinese media said monitored and gathered intelligence on an exercise involving the navies of the United States, Japan, France, and Canada. A Y-9 cargo plane variant fitted with intelligence-gathering equipment most likely monitored and collected intelligence on the exercise, China's state-backed Global Times newspaper reported on Sunday, citing analysts. 2 U.S. aircraft carriers, the USS Nimitz and the USS Ronald Reagan, had been operating around the geopolitically important Ryukyu Island in the Philippine Sea since Thursday, the Global Times cited a Beijing-based think tank as saying. The islands separate the East China Sea from the Philippine Sea and dot the West Pacific between Japan and Taiwan, which China claims as its territory. A spokesman for the Japanese ministry said on Monday it was analyzing a piece of equipment attached to the undercarriage of the Y-9 variant that had not been seen before. Military encounters between China and the United States and its allies in the Western Pacific have risen in recent years as China has grown increasingly assertive in the East and South China Seas, as well as around Taiwan. In the early hours of Sunday morning, a China Coast Guard vessel collided with a Philippine Navy contracted civilian transport ship resupplying Philippine personnel stationed at 2nd Thomas Shoal in the Spratly Islands. Shortly afterward, a Chinese maritime militia ship and a Philippine Coast Guard or PCG vessel bumped into each other. The incident was just the latest in the vicinity of 2nd Thomas Shoal, as Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels have escalated their attempts to prevent the Philippines from resupplying the troops stationed aboard the BRP Sierra Madre, a World War II-era ship that was purposefully grounded on the shoal in 1999. Philippine officials say that no one was injured in the collisions, but that they had damaged both the PCG ship and the small wooden-hulled supply boat. Thank you for watching this in-depth analysis of the escalating tensions in the South China Sea. Subscribe for more updates and analysis on geopolitical topics. Remember to share your thoughts and comments below.